Joined by head coach Mike Van Horn from Bridgewater College women's soccer. They were picked number one in this year's preseason poll. Coach, there's good reason for that, as even though we had a different year this past spring playing in the first ever spring women's soccer season, you won the title. Talk a little bit about going through something very different for everybody, and then you being able to not only compete but be competitive and then come away with a trophy.
Yeah, I think obviously last year was very different for everybody dealing with the COVID restrictions and stuff like that. So I think as a whole, our program, the girls really made the decision that they wanted to really make a commitment to trying to play the 10 games that we were guaranteed if we could stay healthy,
Right.
and then have the opportunity to earn 3 additional games. So when we first went into this season, it was about, can we just play as many games as possible, because you didn't know if you were going to get to play a game or not. And then as we started to get through that season and really start to realize, hey, we got a chance to be in the top 4 and really compete for this thing. I think the motivation changed a little bit there toward the middle of the season. Like, hey, we got a shot at winning a conference championship. So the motivation got even better just because they saw that as an opportunity at the end.
Speaking of motivation, obviously that's the first title in program history for you guys, but coming into this fall, which is quote unquote a more normal preseason, if you will, you got some of those young players who've never gone through preseason, but they had the benefit of playing real deal games this past year. What do you think the impact is of playing games so late in the spring and coming into this fall now where there really wasn't a whole lot of time for it to get out of their memories, and they've got the glory of having a trophy?
Yeah, I think having that short break, you hope that they retain some of that stuff. So when you start going back over how our style of play is and how we want them to play, that it's a little bit more fresher in their mind, so we don't have to spend as much time on that. I am a little concerned about not having that normal 8-month break. Is it enough time for these kids to recharge their battery to jump back into this? That's going to be this 3-month grind that our freshmen from last year and then this year's freshmen don't really know about.
Right.
So staying motivated over 3 months versus, hey, we only got to play 10 games and win a championship. Now you got to win 20 and then go to the playoffs. So that's going to be a new experience for over half the roster for everybody.
Yeah, well, you mentioned that roster. You've got some good leaders coming back, including last year's ODAC Player of the Year in Hannah Randolph, who's a stalwart in the center of the field for you. Talk a little bit about the expectations you have on maybe her for her senior season coming up now, but then who else do you expect to step up and be leaders for you this year?
Yeah, Hannah is a great player for us. She's probably one of the best players that's ever played for our program. So she sets the standard for us, on and off the field. She's a great student athlete. She does a lot on the campus community as well. But then when she gets on the soccer field, she can put all that stuff to the side, and she stands out. Like, everybody notices. She sets the bar for us, on the field with her fitness, her play as well. So has a lot for the younger players to look up to and say, okay, that's what I need to follow. That's what I need to live up to. So she
Right.
sets that standard for us. So that's huge for us to have that. And for the players that are playing against her every day in practice to say, that's one of the best players in the ODAC. If I can compete with her, I can compete with anybody else in the conference. So that gives them that confidence that they have that measuring stick every day that they can play against. So that's huge. And then I think the other big one for us, our other captain from last year, Sydney Davis, which is a big time goalkeeper for this past year. She's returning to play her 5th year. So anytime you can take an all conference goalkeeper and keep her in the net for you, that's going to be huge dividends for us as well as we move through this season.
Well, you'll need every advantage you can get because we talk about the competitiveness of the league. Obviously, you coming through and having been very competitive, top 4 in the league for the past several years, but breaking through and getting that program first title. You see other programs start to inch their way up the ladder as well, and you still have the historically top of the league, if you will, that is very strong coming into this year. What do you see for the conference this season, and where do you think Bridgewater fits in the mix?
Yeah, I think the conference has always been competitive. It's getting harder every year to really compete for that top spot. I think right now there's probably at least 6 teams that could win an ODAC championship year in and year out. So that obviously that's been more competitive there. There's a couple other teams that are they're good, that can compete with those top teams, maybe not as consistent as those top 6. But yeah, you got to bring your A game every time you walk out on that field and the whistle blows, because if you don't, there's a team in the conference that can beat you. And if you want to finish at the top, you got to be checked in every time the whistle blows. So that's not easy.
No, not at all. But I think we're all looking forward to seeing you and the other teams in the league really play for that and figure it out along the way. Coach, I want to thank you for joining me today, and good luck as you move through the preseason into your regular slate.
Thank you.